Okay, so I've got my image planes in Maya now, and if you don't know how to set these up, I did a tutorial on getting your image plane set up in Maya, and I also did one for the shelf up here, which is a Maya customization, creating your own shelf, basically. And all the tools I'm using for this is in that tutorial. And I also have a Photoshop one for setting up these images from within Photoshop to get ready to import into Maya. So you should probably do the Photoshop one, and then you would do the importing your image planes into Maya, and then you could do the shelf, and then you'd be up to speed with this one. If you already know how to do that, then you really don't need to worry about those, and you can just go ahead and do this one. So anyways, we have these set up now. They're all pretty much aligned, and how we're going to go about doing this is we're going to go ahead and make our car out of polygons instead of NURBS. NURBS would be ideal for something like a round car such as this. It's pretty sleek, so NURBS are much smoother. But they're also a bit more hectic, so to say. They take a bit more time, and they can cause more headaches because of the time that they take. But they are ideal for something like that's round, like this car or a head or anything organic. But we're going to go ahead and use polygons for this, and we'll end up converting to sub-Ds later on towards the end. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get started. We're just going to create a polygon cube here, and we're going to move it out towards the front. We're going to model this sort of piece by piece, not small pieces, but we're going to break it down into like a third of the car. So we're going to go ahead and model the front part, then we'll model the main body, the middle, and then we'll do the back, and then we'll actually end up doing the top afterwards, and the wheels as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the front first. So we'll scale this out to sort of match how the front is going. And we'll match it up in the front or the side. And this is what we're going to use for the front now. Go ahead and go into shaded mode here. And now we're ready to start adding some lines here to work with. And looking at the front picture, excuse me, you can see we have a little sort of grill right here, and then the car comes back out again, and then we have the front spoiler sticking out. So we're going to use these as sort of how many divisions we need to add for the height. And so looking at this, we can see we're going to need about 5 for the height, because you want one for the top of this, you want one for the bottom of it, you want one for the top of this, one for the bottom, and then you need the very bottom of the spoiler as well. So we're going to go ahead and add 5 to the height. For the width, we're probably going to add, let's just check it out for now. 8's looking pretty good. So we're just go ahead and go with 8. So that way we can move these out and act as the corner of the grill and the spoiler, and for this little light thing we have going on here. I'm guessing the turn signal. And for depth, normally I'll just add 1, so make it 2. So we have one going down the middle there. And with that done, now we're going to go ahead and delete some of these faces we don't need. Since we're going to be modeling the front and the side of the car separate, we're not going to want these faces here. because that's where they'll connect. We're not going to want these faces in the middle. We're only going to model half the car. And then we're going to mirror it to make the other half. It's just easier to work with that way. And I'm going to go ahead and delete these three faces here. So now the car will have some kind of cover under the bottom, like real cars do. They curve around on the sides and front and back. And now we're ready to go in and start moving these CVs around. So I'm going to start out in the front view here. And we're just going to move the bottom ones up first to match the bottom of the spoiler. Move this one to match the top. Move this one to match the bottom of the grille. Or the top of the spoiler, actually. Match the grille. And this one will be where the car starts to roll back and curve. So now we have all that done. It's time to start giving it some shape. So we can actually go ahead and move these back. We're going to connect the side of the car to about close to the middle of where the tire arc is. So we'll go ahead and move that back. We'll go ahead and move this back just a tad, because we'll end up moving these back to form the arc. These CVs right here. So now we can go ahead and just raise these up. Raise these here up. And since we have the grill here, I want to leave this about the same. You can see they don't match up perfectly, but they're pretty close. Good enough to eyeball. And we'll start giving its curvature right here. So now we have this much. Now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pull these back. To form the arc for the wheel. I can actually just bring this back. Now we'll go ahead and bring these forward in the top viewport. And we're going to align them in the front viewport. We can sort of see this little line here. So we're just going to say that's where this little ridge is right here for these vents sticking out. So I'll bring this down about where that line is. Just bring this out. Go ahead and pull these out. And actually we may want to move those back, because I'm going to start matching the curvature for the top view. This here's the side. You can actually see where this lines up. Okay, we can see this is the very edge of this light right here, so I can go ahead and pull it out. Make it match the edge of the light here. And then you see if we pull it back, it's not quite matched up in this viewport anymore. So we're just going to go ahead and sort of middle it out a little bit. And there we go, there's the start of the front. So now what we're ready to do is do some extruding for the spoiler and the grill that's on the front there. We come in our front viewport. And actually, let's make these match the grill instead. You can see it's lining up at the top now, at least, too. So now we're going to have these CVs on this line here that we lined up with the front of the grill. I'm going to pull these down here and these up so that the grill still has that curve here on the edge. And we'll end up doing the same thing right here for the spoiler, just pulling this one here out. This one here out just a tad. Take a look at these here. I should probably bring them down a bit in this viewport here. So we'll go ahead and bring them down to there. Here, could go down just a tad bit. And the rest is looking alright. So now we can go back into our face mode here. Select the faces for the grill, and then I'm just going to do an extrude on them. So we come over here to our polygon face, extrude. And I didn't change my extrude settings, so we're just going to hit the blue dot to make it a global or universal extrude. Bring this back. Actually, not so far. We're just going to do it a little bit. Then we're going to do an extrude again. Do the same thing with the dot. Bring it back. And we'll go ahead and do one more extrude. And we'll scale this one up and out. So that way it'll look like it sort of comes back and makes the under part of the car as well. That it's one solid piece. At least when you look at it. So we can delete these faces here now. I'm just going to go ahead and delete these as well. And these. And these faces here. So now there's where our grill can fit in. And we're going to go ahead and extrude this part in for the spoiler now. So we'll do the same thing. Extrude in a little bit. Do another extrusion. And one more. Oops. And now we can delete those faces. So just delete these here and these here. And now something we're going to need to do is just weld those vertices. So select them to merge vertice or vertex. I'm going to set this to 0.001 so that way the vertices that are just resting on top of each other get merged and the rest don't. Go ahead and select these vertices here, and you see they don't match up in a straight line on this grid here. So actually, just like that, grid snap it, just like this one here, doesn't need to be snapped, but you should do it anyways. And this one here I missed. So now they should all be down the center there. And there's the start of our car. See it start to take some shape now. Go ahead and invert it to a sub D if you want, just to look at it, take a look. So it's looking decent right now. Let's go ahead and undo that. And now we're just going to sort of refine the detail a little bit more. So we'll go back into our vertex mode. And we'll make sure these line up here on the top. And then the side viewport. And it looks like it should actually be brought in just a tad bit from right there. This one here we'll want to kind of flow with the curve in the drawing here. Sort of where the shadow falls and the highlight falls on the other side, so we'll put it right in the middle there. And we'll want to do the same thing for this one, since they all flow along these edges here. We'll put that one right there. And you can see it coming down here in the front viewport. This one here will probably stick out to the edge all the way. Doesn't quite look right in the front there, so let's put it in the middle, in between. In a little bit from the front view, out a little bit from the top. And we'll have this flow sort of along this kind of arc right here. So we'll bring this down. Same thing with this one here. And we'll do that with these vertices underneath as well. So a lot of it's just sort of guessing where these vertices should be. Like we know this one shouldn't be sticking out way out here. So it's going to need to come in a little bit. Then if we look in the front, we can see how this is starting to curve around the edge, so we're not going to want it to go in like this. We'll want it to sort of flow nicely with these edges here. So just go ahead and bring it straight down, because then the carve actually curves in towards the bottom and then curves back out where the spoiler is. And so now we'll do that with this right here. We're going to actually bring some of the curvature in from the side, so we'll move this back just a little bit, because the car's flowing like this and then back out again. And it's doing the same thing on the side, so we'll bring this in just a little bit. Actually raise it up. For this one here, this will need to be brought in to sort of match this curvature here, where it starts to come back out again. Let it come out a little bit more. So now we'll make these flow with that. And so now we can sort of see how our wheel is going to take shape in here. And we're starting to get the basic curvature for the car down. And we can see how we have this little indent here. It actually looks like it comes further in, so I'm going to bring this one down to, again, sort of flow with how these lines are matching up in this view. I'll bring it in and back just a little bit. So now there's some kind of crease in here to help give shape for the front. And I need to raise these lines up here for the spoiler. So go ahead and do that. And just deselect these here in the middle. Bring these down. And now if we take another look at it, you can even go ahead and mirror it. So I get to see how it's taking shape now. Just undo those. And now we're going to add a bit more detail here, because when we look at this front here, we want this crease to continue down in here at the top of the spoiler, but we don't just want to bring this vertex here in, because then that'll mess with the curvature of the top right here for the bottom of the grill. So to do that, we're just going to start adding some lines. So we'll go with our polygon split tool, or split polygon tool. I'm going to add an edge coming right down the middle of these faces here. I'm going to go ahead and make them come to a point here. So now we can actually bring this in a little bit. To help with bring the curvature around to the front that we have here on this corner. So it'll give it a little bit of flow. So we'll go ahead and select these CVs now. Or these vertices, I guess. Bring them in and up just a tad. Probably go ahead and bring this one up just a tad. And we're going to bring these out to help smooth the effect out a little bit. So these edges we have from the extrude that we did, now they're going to start coming into play. Take a look at the front, and so we want these to be parallel as best we can. So actually raise this up just a little bit to make it match this angle here. Same thing with this. and the one in the very middle here. So now this is going to round out a little bit better too when we convert it to a sub D. You can actually even bring these faces here in a little bit so that they stick out more towards the bottom. These vertices here do. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick now. I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to bring this out to flow with this edge here. But we don't want it sticking out quite that much. So that there should do it. And now we're going to do the exact same thing we did for the bottom here to the top. So just bring these down. Actually, it almost looks like you need to bring these vertices up. So we'll do that. Maybe a little too much there. There we go. That'll work. So now our little front end spoiler here should round off just a little bit closer to the shape in the pictures. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the grill now. So we'll bring this out and up just a little. You could go ahead and select all the edges here and just scale them, but I don't know, I just like doing it this way better. It feels like you have a bit more control. You can pay more attention to each individual part. How each edge is lining up with the one next to it. So just bring these down, do the same thing for the bottom here. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be good enough. Too many people try to make their stuff perfect, which is good, but then you spend a lot more time on it than you probably need to. So keep that in mind a little bit. You want it to be good, but it doesn't have to be exact. You just want it to be good enough so that people don't question it. If you're going for photorealism. And that is kind of the trick, I guess. But that's not so much in shape as much as it is in lighting and everything. So for this, we're just working on the shape. Actually, go ahead and bring these down a little bit, it looks like, on the side viewport. Since we sort of lose our line in the front one here, couldn't really tell where it is. So we'll put it there. Now things are starting to take shape. If we go ahead and take another preview of how it'll look in sub D. See, it's not too bad. It's got the right flow right here. It's curving in just a little bit. It's nice and smooth on the top for now. So we can go ahead and undo that. And let's see, if we look at the front, or the top view rather, it looks like there's a little indent going right here where the curve comes up and then down and then up again in the very middle. So we're going to go ahead and try and add that to this. So go back to our polygon split tool here. Split polygon tool. And I'm clicking in the perspective view, but I'm looking in the top view right here so that I can see where it's at. But when you click in the perspective view, you don't have to worry about accidentally clicking on something underneath it once you start bringing this line around. So again, I'm just looking in the top view there. I'm just going to bring this all the way down to the bottom here. And now we can pull these vertices for these edges here down to help give it that curve. And I'm looking in all the viewports here, really, in the side one, so I can see the curvature relative to the height here, where it sticks up the most on the side. And here's really where the curve dies, so we can pretty much leave that how it is. And since we have this at the very top here, it looks like the very top is a little further out. I'm going to guess that about where the trunk is for this line right here. I'm guessing that's about the topmost point in the side view. But actually, we're going to go ahead and curve this back further. We'll align it to where this little ridge here, this top part of the car, part of the window and the door. We're going to put it in this little corner of that right there, so then we can match it in our side view with that little corner. And we'll do the same thing with this one here. We'll just bring it straight back. We want it to flow with the line a little bit better, so we'll bring it down. Like that. Now we'll work on the flow for the top of the car. We can see we have these lines still going straight even though it curves back around like this. So we'll start out on the very front here. Pull this forward a little bit, down on the side. We'll select the one next to it, pull it forward and down. So if we look at the front view, we went down further, just barely. This one we'll go ahead and swing back, sort of match this curve on the very edge here. Bring it down. And here's one of the CVs that is actually supposed to come down more, so to give it this little curve right there on the inside of the light. So we'll go ahead and bring that down just a tad bit more than it was originally. Excuse me. Getting a cold, so my bad. And also, something like this, where we can make the edge come into where we're going to be adding detail later for the light. We'll go ahead and bring this point here to the edge of the light, like that. So you can see the light comes down a little bit. I'll bring it in here. Raise it up a tad. Actually bring it out more even. So, like that. This might be curving a little too much now. Something more like that, a little more subtle. And we'll do the same thing for the top here. Don't have to worry about these, I don't think. Nope. It's pretty much this one. Make it match here on the top. And right there like that in the front. So now we still have our little, sort of where it dips in for the light right here. But we probably want to bring this down more so we can see the same dip, the same ditch, sort of, right there. Maybe bring this up a tad. And it looks like it'll work. You just have to eyeball it in the perspective a lot, so you can get a better idea of how it's looking from all angles. Which is why you see everybody always like just going insane in the viewport, and also because they're bored. So people just like to click and rotate their stuff. Don't know why, it's a habit of mine as well. So now looking at this, we can start to see a little bit better the overall curvature of it, now that we've added some more lines, some more edges here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start shaping up the light right here. So we'll go back to our split polygon tool right here. And I'm still looking at the flow here at the top. It looks like it could be a little bit better here. So actually I'm going to go back into Vertex, my move tool. Bring that in just a tad bit. And we'll look at it in the front, or in the side view. Maybe it needs to be brought down a little bit because we can see this curve here. So it'll actually need to be brought out. Do the same thing for the one next to it. It's still a little too straight. I need to bring these out more. So that they flow like that. There we go. Bring that in a tad. Now it's flowing just a little bit better here, but still not all that great. But we can tweak with that later. Now we're going to go ahead and add the light. like we were going to do. And it looks like this edge right here is going along pretty well with the edge of the light, which is good, so that gives us one less edge to create. And I'm not quite sure where to begin, so I'm just going to click here and look in the side view, or in the top view. It's right there on this point now, so I want to make a line out to here, but this is the bottom of the car, so we'll actually have to come all the way over here. Or here even. We'll see. This is why I use perspective. So yeah, it is actually... Just hit backspace, we can undo that and go ahead and use this edge right here. So it is the top, alright, that's good. And like that. And actually that's not what I wanted to do. We'll go back to our edge tool. Again, I'm just looking at the lines here in the top view as I click in the perspective. So that's looking a bit better. Like it flows along to the top, matches the where the light should be a bit better. But it's not all that pretty up here in the perspective. See a lot of triangles. Triangles really aren't the best. It just creates more geometry. But it's okay to have them every once in a while. You just want to keep it quads as much as possible. But that's good for now. So we'll go ahead and line these up a bit better in the viewport. Make them match the pictures a bit better. Make sure you don't change the flow of the edges. So right now it looks like these are all lining up pretty good for now. Select this one. You can sort of see a line right here, catch a glimpse of a line, I guess. I'll move that out to there. Check it in our viewport. And actually I selected 2, which isn't what we want. I just want this one. So I'll have to check it now. This one needs to come over to hit the point there. Alright, hopefully that'll work. And also what I'm going to go ahead and do is go back to my edge tool here. Or my split polygon tool. And bring these all the way down to the bottom. Go ahead and bring these bottom vertices in actually a little bit. Like so. And now we're ready to start making the shape of the light. Well, actually, no, we need to refine it a bit more. Because looking at it from here, it looks like this point here comes out just a tad bit more than it does with the edges we have. So, never mind that, and we'll go ahead and go back to our split polygon tool. And it looks like this needs to be brought out, this edge here, to right around there. So I'll click on this edge. Make it there, and then go ahead and come on over. We can actually go back and just bring this edge like that. We'll bring it out in the top viewport here. Check how it aligns with everything on the side. Looks like it could be brought up just a little bit. That's looking pretty good, I think. And so now we'll use these faces right here to form our little light cover. And let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. We'll bring this down again. Since these are all coming to a point at the bottom of the car, it shouldn't be too bad. Shouldn't notice anything too ugly because it's on the bottom side. So that's another advantage to having these faces left here. And you can always go in and split this down here on the bottom so that the point that you have all these triangle faces is actually like a face back and not making up the whole bottom here, if that's making any kind of sense. So now we'll come in here, we'll select our faces that we're going to extrude for the light, and it's looking alright. Looks like it lines up pretty well. You could go ahead and split this again. I might actually just go ahead and do that. Yes, I shall. So we'll go ahead and split this one more time. We'll bring this vertice out here. And check it in the front. Looks about right. So now we're going to select our faces. And how we're going to do this is we're just going to go ahead and extrude them. So we're going to hit our extrude face, hit the little blue circle, and bring these down. Scale them in that way, scale them in this way. And it looks like it could stand to be rotated a little bit. Rotate it like that. And actually I need to come in here and delete these faces now, so it won't take too long. So delete, And merge these vertices now. And I forgot to delete these faces. And we'll keep this one, so. There we go. I'll go ahead and merge up here again just in case. Alrighty. And now we're going to go ahead and extrude these faces here. So, extrude again. Just bring them straight up. And a little bit in both directions. Now it's going to get a little bit tedious. We're going to come in here and align these in the top viewport, just so that roughly all of these at the very bottom are the same distance from, you know, the top of the light and the top of the car here. These edges here and here. So, bring these in here. And also this is where you can decide where you want the curve to be more or less. Do you want the car to sort of flow into the light, or the light to sort of flow into the car? And for this, we're going to have the car go towards the light more, so that means when we bring this in, we'll want this CV for the light here, or this vertex for the light, to come in more. And I forgot to delete the faces. We want this to be closer to the being on top of this edge right here than for the car. Anyways, you'll see what I'm talking about. Undo that. Select these faces here. Just actually, I want that one. I want these as well. So I'm going to delete those. Delete this face. These faces. It's a little annoying doing this. Okay, now we're going and merge these vertices here. Go ahead and line this up here. We want the car going more towards the light, so we want this angle to be something more like that. So the light is closer to being on top of this bottom CV or vertex. Why do I keep saying that? Anyways, like that. I'm actually want to bring this back more. Something more like that. We want these lines to be pretty close to being parallel. So I'll make it like that. And we just have to go in and do this for all these CVs here, or vertices. I don't know what's wrong with me today, but whatever. Okay. So like that. Do the same thing right here. And again, we're trying to keep these edges here flowing as much as possible. So this might need to be brought up just a tad bit. Same thing with this. Something more like that, probably. Bring it in. And this here is about as tedious as this modeling tutorial will get. And we'll have to do this again for the door and the trunk. So, just bear with me. I can do that here. Looks like it's falling in the front. I have to move these down though. There, that'll work. And we're almost done with the light. Thankfully. And that looks okay for now. Go ahead and test it out. And there's our light. If it's sticking out a little, or if it's a little too curved around it, there's a couple different ways you can handle it. One is just by going in and splitting the edges around here again. Or even splitting the edges going down here in the middle. But for now we're going to leave it how it is, and I'm going to go ahead and create this line for the trunk here. You can see a curve, how this curve changes right here. We're going to go ahead and split this up so we can do that as well. So we'll just add some faces going down this way. And also that'll let us bring this up here to add more detail to how the tire, where the tire will fit in. And okay, bring this out just a little bit. I'm actually back. And that's looking a little bit better now, I hope. So now what we want to do is add the trunk going here. So we'll need to bring this down here. Bring this like that. Let's actually bring that there. Looks like it's still matching up in the viewports, which is good. Might need to bring it down a little bit. Like that. Maybe like that even. Okay, so now I'm gonna add the trunk. So go back to our little split tool here. We're gonna start with this right here. So come down to the edge that's there at the pit, sort of the bottom. Bring it out a little bit to each side. We're gonna make this line here be the center. So I'm checking our top viewport there. That'll work. Do it again for the other side. Actually need to come around over here. Like this. And like this. That'll work. I need to sort of change the flow right here. If we come down here, we can go ahead and snap this vertex here to that right there. Go ahead and bring these down now. And again, we're going to have the trunk more or less flow into the car, so we're bringing it more towards the car in the top viewport there. The same thing up here. Make sure this is merged, since we snapped it right here. Now we need to bring this trunk down here to the middle, add a front to it. So we'll do the same thing. Looks like it's at this point of the light right here, so then bring that down here. Actually, no, we won't. We need to bring this around like that. So select this face, bring it down to the point. Still looking on the top view, clicking on the perspective, bring this over. Let's make it match like that. Now we'll need to put lines on both sides of that. And we'll end up bringing that line down, that edge. So, go back to this tool. And do it one more time here. Actually, we'll end up bringing this one down, so it'll flow nicely. We'll bring this out here. So like that. Now we come in here and select these vertices, snap it there. Select this one. Bring it down. So we have this going on the side. So these lines here are parallel. Very close to it at least. The same thing for this one. And this one. And this one here. And this here. Actually, I need to merge that vertice that we ended up snapping to the one that was already at the bottom there. So come here, merge vertex. Oops, get out of that. I'm going to go ahead and take another look at it in sub D. So we have our little trunk going there now. That'll work. Another way you can get this to be a little bit probably more realistic and not have the edges rounded out so much would just be to select the faces and do an extract face. That could work. So if you just selected all the faces that made up the trunk right here, and you'd even want to select that one there, and you were to go ahead and do, I think it's edit polygons, if I can find it, extract. Oh, I didn't do it right, I don't think, or maybe I did, yeah I did. And then you could go ahead and combine these all and merge those vertices, but for this we're just going to leave it like that. But then that way you'd have, you know, one piece for the trunk after you combine them all, and one piece for the body, you'd have one piece for the light. And you can model these individually as well, like make each one a separate piece. But we're going to go ahead and leave them as one solid piece for now. So now that this is pretty much done, we're going to go ahead and add this little light here, turn signal I'm guessing. So we'll go back to our split polygon tool here. And if we look at this edge here, we'll probably just go ahead and cut right along there. I think that's this edge here. So yeah, something like that. Just go ahead and bring it all the way down to the bottom. So it's a little bit neater then. And go ahead and bring this back up here. Might even want to go ahead and bring it all the way around the front. You don't have to. But hopefully this will keep the rounding down just a little bit from this edge to the next. Leave it a little bit more detailed. So now we go ahead and select those vertices and line them up in this viewport here. Look at how that's looking, and oh, that's not looking too good, so I'm just going to go ahead and split this up too. So right around here. I guess we'll go make that connect there. Go ahead and bring that over here. So now we can also define this arc just a little bit better. Maybe bring this down and over. It looks like it's working. So we're still going to have to bring that face down. Okay, like that. And now we're going to want to take a look here in the perspective and see what mess we've caused. And so we can see we want this to definitely come in a little bit and down to help with the flow. Take a look at it in all these viewports here. Probably something more like that. Same thing with this here. Now it's probably looking a little bit better than what it was before. So we'll go ahead and bring these faces here in. And actually I don't think we need that one. So just these. And we'll extrude these. Just bring them on inwards. Go ahead and do another extrusion. And then scale them in a little bit. Like such. And I forgot, I have to come and delete these faces. want to align these up in these viewports again. And bring it back like that. Same thing with this one here. And yeah, let me go ahead and merge these. So we're going to merge these vertices real quick. And now we'll bring these in. Try to make them line up a little bit better. And we're just moving these around in all the viewports here. Trying to make it flow a little bit better. And bring this last corner here in. And I think that'll work. Go ahead and soften and harden these normals. Soften them up a little bit. Now I'm going to take another look. See, things are looking alright. Might want to go in here and clean these edges here up a little bit. I'm not going to worry about it right now though. Might do it later on. So it's looking alright. Now what we want to go ahead and do is going to add these little vents that they have here. And we're going to go ahead and do that just using another cube right there. So go ahead and scale, actually move it back a little bit. Scale it out about like that. And we're going to divide it up a little bit. So we'll give it a top here, so divide it this way. And I think that'll be good enough for this part. It should be pretty simple, except for we do need to give it some width there. That's probably plenty. So now we're going to delete these faces we don't need. There, and we don't need the bottom. So delete those faces. So now we just have it like that. And actually we're not going to need these faces here either. So that's what we have left now. So I deleted the faces on this end here, and the very bottom. So now we'll go ahead and go in the vertex. So go ahead and take these faces, lift them up. This will be for the basic shape of it. Probably going to stick out quite a bit. Something like that. So now on the top, we'll go ahead and just move these over. Not too worried about how everything is flowing together at the moment. And I'm going to go ahead and make 2 duplicates of this because I'm going to have to do some more work to this that I'm not going to need to do for these 2 right here, because this is actually going to be connected to the hood right here, and these 2 are not. I mean, the hood's going to flow up into this, and then basically you have these 2 little holes going down into it. So they will be connected, but not the same way this is going to be. So we'll make 2 duplicates of it, and duplicate that too. So these 2 will be used for these vents going right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our wireframe on shaded just by going shading, shade options, wireframe on shaded. I'm going to take these here. We're going to move this row back to where it connects a little bit better. And I'm going to want to delete these faces here in the front. I'm not going to need those. For this one at least. For the other 2 I will. For this one I will not. So we'll move this out. We'll get these to roughly line up. So I'm going to go and select this vertex on the car right here on the hood, bring it to where all these meet. It's still looking alright. So I'll be able to get out of that. Just select this one, go back into vertex. And I don't know what in the world I just did here, but we'll move this back out. And these should actually line up right here. So now we're going to roughly match these up in the front here. So we're going to want this vertex to line up to that edge going right here. I'll go ahead and just eyeball it for right now. The same thing right here. So bring it up and back. Same here, so up and back. And right here also. So now you can sort of see how that's going to start looking. And so, you can see we're going to need to bring these vertices down a little bit. It's a little too much right now. But first, I'm going to go ahead and snap these vertices here. Actually, go ahead and bring this vertex out. Get a line right there. Now we'll come in and snap this right here to this point right here. So we're just point snapping. It's the V key. It's right there. We'll do the same thing with all these points here on the end. They're all going to come meet at that one point. And now we'll go ahead and snap these that we lined up earlier to the matching points on the car. So I'm just selecting these vertices and just point snapping them along these edges here. You just want to make sure that you have the same number of lines coming down here as meets up on the hood. And if not, you can always delete some edges, or you can just use the split tool to add more if you need to add instead of subtract. So now with that done, select these top here. We'll bring it down to match the front viewport a little bit better. Like that. Same thing right here. And right here. Now we're going to take these here and line them up in the top viewport. So it's more like that. Go ahead and line these up in the side viewport so that we can see the flow of the lines. And that's looking alright. I'd rather have it curved this way than the other way. But just barely. Pretty much straight. So something about like that. And so there's our little first vent right there. Actually, we're going to need to bring these back because it comes underneath. So we'll just bring these back in a little bit, like so. Do the same thing for these on the bottom. And so now we can see how we can just combine these two here and have this end up being part of the front part of the car. So we'll go ahead and do that. Select them both and do a polygon combine. So we'll go ahead and do that now. But if you convert to sub D, you can see you got the holes there, which means you're going to need to merge the vertices. Let's go ahead and select them and merge vertex. So now if you do it, it should be pretty smooth. And it is. And you can see where it curves up a little bit where we added that piece. Let's go ahead and undo that now. And I'm going to select these here, bring it up, put it in place. On the vertex mode. And now we're going to be ready to line these up. So, select these, bring them up a little bit there. And since these are not going to be attached to the car, we're not going to worry about how these line up right now. Or we might end up attaching them to the car, I'm not sure, but even if we do, we're still going to have a hole here. So the only part you'd have to worry about is merging these vertices to these points over here. So it's not going to matter how these align up to the edges in front of them. But you just want to line these edges up so that you can get the curvature about right. So something about like that. Bring it up in the side, or in the front view a little bit more. And okay, now we got that going on. What we need to do is line them up a little bit better now. I'm just going to select edges. And bring these back. And actually, we'll select the edges here for the car. Oops. And bring these forward more. And we're going to go ahead and snap these to these points, to this point right here. I don't think we need to snap that one, so we'll leave it how it is. And we can snap this one if we want. Question is, do we want to? And I don't think I want to. I'm going to leave it just how it is. So now I'm just going to line these vertices up in the back here to help give it a more of the shape that we want it to have. And actually now we can move these forward just a tad bit. Bring these forward. So like that. Now we need to do that with this last one right here. This lines up about like this. And again, we're going to go ahead and snap these points here to this point right here. Make sure these are all lined up again. And actually we'll bring these in to the wider part right here. And we'll go back and do the same thing with this one. Now it looks like it's flowing alright. See what it looks like if we go ahead and convert all of these. And it looks like something we could live with. Or we can try Yeah, what we have to do is combine them first. So we'll just combine these real quick. And we'll select all these vertices and merge them together. Although it looks like we still have quite a few here, do we? Nope, just one. So now with that done, what's it look like if we convert? And it's not even converting, so if we do a little cleanup here. Still nothing. It's always fun. Not quite sure what's going on now. So we're just going to undo that. Maybe how we had it before. They're all separate. I like it that way better anyways. And that's all that matters. So I'm going to bring these back a little bit. Actually, it looks like it's still crisscrossing a little bit. So we'll bring it back more. Bring these in. Like so. And that looks like it'll work. So now we pretty much have the front part of our card done. We can go ahead and start working on the side. We can go ahead and take a look at this. If we were to have a look-see now. It's not looking too terribly bad. It's something we can work with at least. So there's the front of our car so far. Let's undo that. And that was a good time as any to save. So, okay.